Dr. Hanis?
InsyaAllah.
Alright, insyaAllah. Kayla Insta famous memang pun. Okay. Alright. Alright. Okay, let me start. Right. Sekejap Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dan salam sejahtera. And a very good morning to all of our viewers, brothers and sisters. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. So thank you very much. What is it? Thank you very much for spending 1 hour of your time with us here today in the CEO at Faculty Program 2.0 Cycle 3 Sharing Session. And our virtual talk series continues with our session today with the title Basics of Infographic Design. So my name is Khairul Azami Sideh, the Deputy Director of Office of Industrial Links, International Islamic University Malaysia, IIUM, and I will be assisted by two of my colleagues, Siti Juraida and Nur Shahira. In case I get disconnected, they will come in for me to continue the session. So a few housekeeping announcements before we begin. Firstly, for IIUM students who would like to obtain the CTD point, Continuous Talent Development Point, CTD point for the session, kindly log in at the link provided in the chat section. Okay, kindly log in at the link provided in the chat section on the right hand side of the Google Meet application. Okay, I think, is it there? Ada tak Juraida? Did you put the link? Okay, I'll put the link. This one can do that. Okay. All right. So if you want CTD points, please register your name there for IUM staffs. Secondly, this session is an open session, and since it is a virtual event, we would really appreciate if you could mute your microphone during the session. In cases which you would like to speak up, kindly unmute your microphone, and bear in mind that it is necessary to ask questions or speak up one person at a time and not simultaneously. I believe that this is not your first session online since the start of the MCO, or maybe before the MCO, where maybe you have joined other events online using different types of platforms, practicing the same set of guidelines. Thirdly, this session will be conducted less than 1 hour from now, and we intend to make the session as interactive as possible. Thus, we welcome questions at any part of the session. You can either voice out your concerns by unmuting your microphone, or alternatively typing in the chat section of the Google Meet application. So again, with all due respect, kindly mute your microphone during the session. If you could not find or do not know where the microphone is, it will be in the bottom part of your screen with the microphone symbol. If it is crossed over and turns red, it means that your microphone is already muted. If it is not, then we shall hear audio sounds input picked up from your device. Thank you very much for listening to the housekeeping announcements. So let us proceed to the session for today, shall we?
Yes.
If you're a teacher or a school student, you're wondering how infographics fit into the picture for your school curriculum or lesson plans. Meanwhile, if you are a lecturer or a university student, you perhaps ponder how infographic blends in the presentation of assignments, projects, or even pitching sessions for research grants, community grants, industrial grants, or even consultancy projects. Meanwhile, if you're running a business or heading a market team, you're curious about using infographics to share your brand story. Are infographics expensive and time-consuming to create? Is it even worth pursuing? What kind of infographic format is ideal for the data that you want to highlight? To talk more about this, we have with us a very special guest who will share her experience using infographics for tasks within and outside her organization. Let me briefly introduce her. She is landscape architect Dr. Norhanis Diyana Binti Nizarudin, a lecturer from the Department of Landscape Architecture, Kulliyyah of Architecture and Environmental Design, International Islamic University Malaysia, IIUM. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning, Dr. Hanis.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Dr. Azami.
It is a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you very much.
So thus, without further ado and hesitation, I would like to pass the session to landscape architect Dr. Norhanis Diyana to introduce herself and share with us on the basics of infographic designs. Falyatafaddal mashkura.
Okay, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Thank you to moderator Dr. Azami for inviting me to be here, and as well as to Office of Industrial Links for inviting me, led by Dr. Nobaiduri, for having me here today to conduct this sharing session under the umbrella of CEO at Faculty Program 2.0 Cycle 3. So it's my pleasure to be here with all of you today. Thank you very much for spending your time to be here with me today. Inshallah, today I'll be sharing with you a bit on the fundamentals of the infographic design for everyone. It's actually an infographic for all. You can either or you are an academician, you are a student, or even you are industrial player, or even digital content creator. You can have this knowledge of fundamentals of infographic design. So here today I'm going to share with you a bit on my passion and knowledge on this infographic design. So, okay, basically, as introduced by Dr. Azami, I am Dr. Norhanis Diyana Binti Nizarudin from Department of Landscape Architecture, KAED, Kulliyyah of Architecture and Environmental Design. For IIUM community, you might know KAED, where is KAED, but for my friends and other community from other universities, thank you very much for joining me today. So basically, it's something that we are always pondering about, what is infographic. So it is very enlightening for me today to be sharing with you what is infographic all about. And today's sharing will be on the continuation of series from the sharing session that I have with my previous industrial attachment place, which is QSR Brands. I had this session with the staff of QSR Brands. So today I'm going to share it with the IIUM community, my own university. So basically, we want to know what is info, what is graphic. So basically, we have known that info is a set of knowledge that basically tells us information, deliver us information. And what is graphic is another story. So today also I wanted to actually introduce you to what is the basic graphic components that are important for your presentation, for your assignments, for your lecture notes, for your research grants and whatnot. And also even how to create it, even the tools that can be used, especially on the offline and online tools that are available on the market, as well as the examples from the infographic materials from my own work. All right, basically, we have known that info is a set of knowledge or a set of textual or even verbatim information that can be delivered to someone. But what is graphic? So here I want to share three basic things or aspects about graphic. First, it is a detailed mental images in which when you see an image, you can say that image speaks 1,000 words. So, but somehow what can it delivers to you? When we see an image, we can actually guess something. What does it mean or whatnot? So by having graphic, it can deliver you a detailed mental images of information that you want to deliver. Second is graphic is a very clear and a powerful tool, in a way that when you use graphic, it should be self-explanatory. Self-explanatory here means that if you are not there with your work, your work can speak by itself. It doesn't have to be explained by other people or else, but it stands by its own. And the third one is by having graphic, we wanted to have less text but more images. So somehow if you can see my slides over here, I used the combination of having graphics and also a bit of text. So less text, more images is important, in which it is a challenge for everyone, for even for researcher, for academician, for students, for teachers, or even industrial workers and whatnot. We have the challenge of extracting the information from a longer text into a very concise information. So this is where the infographic comes and take its role. Right. If you have any question, you can just unmute and pop up at any time. So again, here today, I'm going to share a bit of the importance of infographic. You have known that infographic is very essential in helping us to deliver concise information. But usually we have forgotten some of the simplest or the most basic things in graphic. But for example, for those who are dealing with design things or design field, you might know this could be a refresher for you. But for anyone who are not in the design field, these things could be something that is very important to be highlighted on in your infographic design. Okay, basically there are 7 components of graphic that I'm going to share with you here. There are a lot of components that can be shared, but I'm highlighting the 7 because these 7 are very important, and they are usually frequently being used in every of infographic materials. Okay, we have 7 components, which are colors, fonts and typefaces, symbols, shapes, connectors, images, and kerning. These 7 might look simple, but again, it always being forgotten by all of us. Okay, I move on to one of the components, which is colors. Okay, colors could be one of the trickiest component for everyone to choose when you want to actually do your infographic materials. For example, you wanted to do your slide presentation for the lecture. If you are a lecturer or a teacher, sometimes you want to give extra moods to your students when you are delivering a lecture, but you don't know what colors to be picked during your for your infographic or even lecture materials. So this is where the color selection tips comes from. Okay, the first one is you need to know the nature of your presentation. We could have casual presentation, we could have official presentation, we could have a very corporate presentation. So this is one of the most important tips that you need to know when you choose your color. Okay. Second one, you need to be mindful of any official color coding. For example, if let's say IIUM has a set of color coding, one color coding which is turquoise. Okay, turquoise color that represents IIUM as an institution. Perhaps like, for example, if I may take one institution from banking, for example, CIMB, it has red color. So some color actually represents certain institution, or it represents certain themes of the organization or whatnot. So be mindful of any official color coding that also can be used to provide or prepare your infographic materials. Okay, the third one would be colors to be mixed and matched in order to increase the readability of your presentation. Okay, colors to be mixed and matched here, I would like to extend a bit on it. There are several types of colors that can be mixed and matched for your infographic materials. Okay, the first one would be monotone. Okay, duotones and also multitones. I'm going to share with you some examples on it. Okay, this is the monotone. Whenever you talk about mono, it's always one. Mono means one, so it's always one color. If let's say that one color have different hues, it is still one. For example, here you have black, white, and also a bit of grayish hue. So gray is part the hue of black. So whenever you use black, gray, and white, it is always in monotone color. So does this blue one. It has hues of blues and also white. So it is a monotone one. When you use monotone, it is somehow like a play safe mode. When you have infographic, you don't have many things to be highlighted, so you can use monotone. Or even if you want to use monotone to create a very harmonious type of infographic materials, you can use monotone. For example, like this one, it is very harmony. It looks like you don't have, your eyes will not read so much things on it. So you can use monotone. Okay, for duotones, duo always means two. It has a combination of two colors which always be balanced and also harmony. Okay, for example, the first one, it used the combination of dark and also vibrant color, the dark blue and also the yellow. So it has something that needs to be popped up from the infographic materials. Okay, for example, this one, the designer want to highlight the 4 aspects of business ideas for networking. So this designer used something that is very popping in her or his infographic material. So does this one. It used quite a monotone and adding up orange hues on it, it becomes duotones. Okay. This one is more on the multi-tones. Multi-tones means means more than 2. So it can have 3 or more colors on your infographic materials. That means usually when you use multi-tones, you have more than 2 things to be highlighted on. You have 4 different aspects to be highlighted on. For example, like this one, SWOT. We have SWOT. So you wanted to actually highlight 4 different aspects, so you use more than 2 colors to actually express your thoughts and also express your information on the infographic materials. So basically, if let's say you want, how do you want to actually choose either monotone, duotones, and multitones is depending on nature of presentation that you want to actually deliver, and as well as the theme of the presentation that you want to deliver, as well as the content itself. For example, if you want to deliver a presentation to children, you might not want to use monotone because it might be too boring for them, for the kids. You might use multitones because it creates more moods. It has colorful things that to capture the attention of the children. So that is how you need to be mindful when you choose your color for your infographic materials. Okay, as for my suggestion, if you want to use to provide presentation slides, for example, if you don't know which color is suitable for you to mix and match, you can always use the safest color in the world, which is white. You have the white background, and everything every color that you put on the white background will actually pop up, like the one that I'm using right now. All right, move on to the second one. That is on the fonts and typefaces. Okay, usually we have fonts for every single textual materials that we are preparing. Okay, fonts and typefaces are quite similar. It's just that typefaces is the type of font that is the type of Arial, Times New Roman, Calibri is typeface, whereas fonts is 16 points bold Arial. That is fonts. Fonts always comes in detail. It has the sizes, it has the thickness, and also the typeface. So that is font. Typeface is always the name of the typeface, Arial, Times New Roman, and whatnot. Okay, on how to pick the suitable and feasible fonts and typefaces, I have 3 tips as well. First one is nature of materials that will be presented. Same goes to colors. Either or you want to make official presentation or even casual presentation, fonts and typefaces is very important. You don't use Comic Sans typeface for a very official presentation to your dean or even to your rector. You don't actually use Comic Sans to do your thesis or even your anything that is very official. You use Comic Sans to actually you use Comic Sans typeface to actually convey something that is very casual, very childlike to children, to something that is very fun and whatnot. So the nature of materials that will be presented is very important for your fonts and typeface selection. Second one is the hierarchy of fonts. The hierarchy of fonts, as for academicians, we have journals and whatnot. We are always prone into exposed into the ideas of having the headings, subheadings, body of text, and captions. So those are hierarchy of fonts that need to be considered and always being watched on. And the third one would be the mixture of font types and sizes. Okay, the ideal mixture of font types and sizes would be like this. If in design field, we would suggest that not to have more than 3 typeface in one document. For example, you are having a poster, you cannot mix more than 3 typefaces. You cannot have like Arial, Times New Roman, Calibri, and Comic Sans in one poster. Okay, so because your eyes cannot catch the best points on the infographic materials itself. And also the sizes. The sizes is also depending on the hierarchy. So usually hierarchy will actually determine the sizes of fonts that you are going to use. If you are looking here, you look here on the width and width of the typeface and also fonts, you can see the various kind of width, height, and width of the fonts that can be used for infographic. There's no specific tips on how to pick this kind of thickness of the typefaces or fonts, but you can always try and error in order to get the best, the most visually appealing infographic materials with those kinds of selection. Okay, another one in typeface would be on the selection of sans serif or serif. We know that we have this kind of typeface. Okay, sans serif is, sans means without, so it means without serif. Serif is something like this with this kind of embellishment at the end of the letter. So this is serif, like Times New Roman. Sans serif is something like Arial and whatnot. It doesn't have any embellishment at the end, at the edge of the lettering. Okay, when you pick sans serif or serif, it has something got to do with the it represents something. For example, here, if you can see, if you use serif, sans serif font, like this stability with bold thickness, it shows something that is very stable. It has the ideas of mood. It gives ambience to what you are writing on, especially on the posters, on something that you want to catch people's attention, on the marketing posters and whatnot, in the Instagram or Facebook, on the advertisement. So you can use something that is very eye-catching. For serif, sorry, it has something got to do with the idea of very conservative, traditional. Usually in our thesis, in the undergraduate or postgraduate thesis, we use Times New Roman as our default font for those kind of document. So it gives us some of the like sense of belonging in order to read our document. It has something also got to do with the mood of being mellow. Like for example, this serif type can be also related to the script typeface. It has the ideas on having something is very soft and very what we call it something is very mellow on mellow side, creative side of it. Okay. Another one on the typefaces search. Okay, actually on this slide, if you can see, I actually put the hierarchy of font. Usually we have like, for example, like heading, like the typeface search. Where to find cool fonts that suit your presentation needs is the subheading. So you can see the size of the font actually in accordance to your priority of the information that you want to deliver. Okay, so basically if you see here, it has the headlines, subheadings, it has the body of text, it has the images, and also the captions. Okay, so on the content itself, this is my suggestions for the typefaces search that you can find online. You can always go to these websites to find cool fonts, free fonts, or even like any kind of fonts that you wanted to find for your presentation or even infographic materials. You can find this in the this websites. Right. Okay, move on to another one, which is symbols and selection. Symbol selection. Okay, usually we use symbols for shortcuts. Okay, we don't want to use text, so we replace symbols with to represent your what do you want to deliver. If you want to say no, we can use X like this, or or even if you want to say it's not allowed, you can use like no entry symbols. So it can be like something to show disagreement with something. So you can use those like negative symbols on that. You can also use the ups and downs arrows to show up and down or increase or decrease. You don't have to actually put like increase, decrease. We can use this kind of symbol to make shortcuts. Or even if you want to get some of the other symbols or shortcuts for other things, you can always use like, you can always find it online. For example, you can type like office icons vector. If you search for vector, it will pop up so many things like this. The illustrations made by other designers that are available free online. So you can use that for your symbols and symbol selection. Okay, apart from symbols, shapes also plays important role for your infographic materials in the sense that it helps to define boundaries of your content. When I say helps to define boundaries for your content, mean it becomes a frame. Example, for the shapes, these three shapes, it becomes a frame for that particular information. So you will actually, shapes will actually being a confined space where people will actually look into that only, not elsewhere. So other than define the frame, it also establish the flow and sequence. For example, like this one, if you can see how shapes can be formed to form the infographic in order to organize information. For example, like these hexagons, you can put something in the middle, which is the core, and you can have outwards hexagons to actually deliver what are the information or the sub-information that you want to tell people. As well as these pentagons, it can also mean something that is very in circular motion. Okay, even though it is in pentagon, so it has a connection between this one and the rest. As well as octagons, you can always use this kind of shape to actually promote motion or flow of information. Okay, the last one on the shapes would be to suit certain presentation themes. What I mean here is like this. Okay, if you use something on circle, you have a circular theme on your presentation. You have a radial theme. This could be it could be something like this. You have same like the hexagon just now. You can use circle to represent something caught in the middle and outward, pointing outwards to some sub informations, and it has automatically created a theme for your presentation. It has a circular and a very radial look like presentation like this as well. Sometimes you use pie charts. Sometimes you are boring with the normal and conventional pie chart. You can always use this kind of chart to actually show some statistical information for your presentation. You can even use triangle, in which this triangle has a set of a pointing up and pointing down triangle, which can be a very interesting infographic style and layout for you. So you can put something over here inside the icons, and you can have some descriptions on the above or the below of the shapes. Okay. The psychological part of shapes represents ideas and feelings. If you can see over here, this I take this from another designer. So this is to show how the selection of shape can actually represent certain things, certain moods or certain ambience. Squares are reliable, give stability and suggest order. Okay, you can use that for your something that is very like rigid and very official or whatnot. Circles can represent something that is very harmony. If we have the subset and whatnot, we always use this to show the relationship of the information from one to another, as well as pentagons, hexagons, and octagons. I have shown you just now earlier. You can use this kind of shapes to actually giving unique feel, because multi-sided shapes can give you more things to more feelings to the presentation. Triangles that pointing up represents direction and power. Triangles that point down suggest instability but provide direction. So you can choose how shapes can actually shape your presentation. All right. Apart from shapes, we also have connectors. Okay. Connectors usually means arrows. Arrows are very important in your infographic material preparation, in the sense that it gives the sense of direction or connectivity from one information to another. Okay, here I provide some of the examples of the connectors that you can find online, or even on the tools that you are going to use, even PowerPoint or whatnot. So it has solid line, dotted line and whatnot. This kind of lines actually represent, for example, like solid line, it gives direct connectivity to that particular from one to another, from A to B. Like for example, dotted line might giving like semi connection to A to B. So you can always use that kind of connectors for your infographic materials. Okay, we have Bezier connectors, we have smart connectors, we have smart rounded connectors, and as well as curve connectors. So it depends on the theme of your presentation, the shape of your presentation. If you are using, for example, curvy or circular like shapes, you might want to use curvy connectors and whatnot. Okay, it depends on you yourself how you decide how you want to decide it to be. All right, these are another types of connectors that you can use. Okay, if like this, you can use this is a kind of connectors that shows infographic process. You can know a linear process by having this. Even though it is a linear process, you don't have to actually put it in a linear form, but you can always do it like this. It is still a linear form. It is not a zigzag form. Okay, so you can always use connector to show flow, to show what's on the beginning and what's on the end. Okay, these are another type of connectors which shows networking. I think this kind of connectors is very important. Sometimes we want to show hierarchy like this one from a very top one and pointing down until the like pyramid shapes, and has a very linear this one a very linear connectivity. This one is like a spider web connectivity and whatnot. So you can choose type of connectors that you want to use for your infographic. All right. Another one is images selection. Okay, images are very important in the sense that it is the most frequent materials that will be used, or components that will be used on an infographic material. Okay, for example, posters, even your presentation slides, you will always use images. So I have two tips here, that it is always best to use your own images. If you use yours, you will feel like the sense of belonging of the presentation is with you. Okay, but if let's say you don't have the best images with you, your own one, you can use other people work, but you need to give credits if you use others' works. This is where the ethics part comes from. Okay, for example, if you want to talk about COVID and whatnot, so you can use some of the statistical information or even some of the infographic that have been provided online, but provided that you need to quote the source of the images that you want to use every single time. That is, you need to put that integrity in you. Whenever you use infographic from other people, you have to cite or to quote the source. All right. Another important aspect on image is be careful with image resolution. Usually, sometimes during the conference or even virtual conference, during this kind of time, because it has been a trend that nowadays we have virtual conference, whatnot, like webinar and whatnot. Some of the presenters did not use the right image resolution to deliver a very visual input to the audience or viewers. So this might actually deter the effectiveness of your presentation. So always make sure that your image resolution is good in a way that it will give your presentation a very effective mood, and it will deliver the right information to your viewers and audience, right? Okay, the last component for infographic materials would be on kerning. Okay, kerning, or even kerning is the terminology. We can also use the terminology as spacing. Okay, kerning is where you have the idea of the width of the from one letter to another letter, and also the height from one paragraph to another paragraph. That is kerning. Okay, for example, like here, of course, I really salute if you can read this one. We cannot read. I mean, like, because it is too cramped, and you cannot read, and you cannot see what are the information being delivered to you. So avoid this kind of kerning or spacing. Okay, there are people who actually did this. I've seen some. So try to avoid this kind of kerning selection. Whereas you have to go for this kind of kerning, some of the spacing and kerning that are very feasible to the eyes to read. It is very legible, it is very readable for the viewers. So the eyes will be like visually pleasant to the infographic materials that are being provided by us. All right. this is example of kerning, okay, in which we have 4 types of kerning and spacing. The first one would be the equal spacing. This is like default. When we type, like we type on our Microsoft Words and whatnot, the spacing that we have is usually 1.0, like something like that. So it's the equal spacing between characters and whatnot. Automatic kerning also can be something that is, it is quite similar to the equal spacing. Both of these like on the same spectrum. Still has too much space between characters. Sometimes we don't want too much spaces between each characters. So we want it to be like very visually appealing size and also spacing. So adjusted kerning is usually the one that being opted by most designers or even infographic designers. If you see something that is very just nice for you to see, it is the adjusted kerning. You can have you can actually adjust. If let's say in for example in Photoshop you have something on the characters of the paragraph, you can change the numbers of the kerning, the height and also the width. Okay, the last one would be two-type kerning, in which every single character in the word will actually bump to each other. So this is not good. Two-type kerning, it is harder to read. It will become something like this. Okay, eventually. All right. So these are basically the 7 components of the infographic design. Okay. If let's say you have any questions, you can just pop by unmute. I'm going to share a bit on the okay. All right. Any question? I heard some unmute.
I think there's a question there, Dr. Norhanis.
Yeah, sure.
Siti Nur Shahira, may I know, Assalamualaikum, may I know the sample for the best image resolution? Is it 10 by 10? Is it the best?
Okay, image resolution is depending on your size, on the size of the materials that you want to provide. Okay, for example, if let's say you want to make a poster, okay, either or your poster is A4 size or A3 size or A1 size, so the image of your image resolution of your photo will be different depending on the size of the documents. Okay, so what can I suggest is always go for the maximum DPI, for example, like 300 DPI. Okay, all right. It will be like the safest one. If you can go for the maximum, then you can have a very clear, sharp picture whenever you print it out, or even whenever you project it online. Okay, have the maximum one.
Okay, hi, Meng from UKM KL. My question is to Dr. Hanis. What is the rule of thumb for information that can be included in a slide or page without looking too complicated? Thank you.
Okay, the rule of thumb. Oh wow, this could be another session eh.
Boleh.
Because that one is I mean, like, in terms of saying what is the rule of thumb, usually what we need to know the keywords. That is the most important thing. I mean, like, if you have a set of information, it will be like too long kan, maksudnya panjang sangat dalam tu. Okay, you need to extract what are the most important keywords or even most important key points that you want to highlight at that particular time. So extract that one to be your main point, but don't take maybe you can get, like, for example, in one paragraph you have, like, for example, 5 key points. Okay, then take one and see, okay, how can you actually cram that one particular key points into a smaller chunk of information. Maybe, for example, that one key point has 2 sub points. You can always make a separate 2 informations in one particular points. Other than that, I mean, like, the first rule of thumb is to know your keywords or key points. That is my my 2 cents.
Okay, keywords. So Said, what kind of difference? What is the difference between font and typefaces, Doctor?
Okay, as I mentioned just now, okay, maybe you have missed that part. Okay, fonts and typeface. Typeface is the name of the font. For example, Times New Roman, Arial, Calibri, Comic Sans, and so many things. Okay, that typeface is the name. But when you talk about fonts, you have some details on it. You have the size, for example, 16 point, 16 pt, and then you have the typeface name Arial, and you have the thickness, wherever which or special character, or wherever you bold it or even you italic it, it's the fonts. Okay, so fonts means 16 size of Arial with italic character, for example. That is fonts, the difference between fonts and typeface.
Aisha Rizal, what is the examples of typefaces that you can suggest for casual and non-casual presentation?
Again, sorry. Again.
What is the examples of typefaces that you can suggest for casual and non-casual presentation?
Oh, there's so many actually. If you casual, it can be like, for example, the one that I'm using now, like here is the Questrial. Questrial is one of the casual, can be casual also, and it is also can be like a very formal like font. Another casual. Okay, casual can mean anything. I mean, like what? Like presentation to kids, to or even to public, or even for something that is very informal, like concerts and whatnot. So it depends. I can't really give what types of, you can actually go to the one types faces search that I have given to you, the 10 slide, the 10 websites. You can refer to that. You can, it has a various categories of fonts and typefaces that you can choose from.
By the way, Dr. Hanis, are you going to share your slides with the audience?
Sorry?
Are you going to share the slides with the audience?
Yeah, sure, can.
Okay, so a lot of people are requesting it actually. If you can see the chat box, there's a lot of people who wants your slides.
Okay, all right. Sure, I can. But okay, can I resume my presentation a bit? I have some examples to show.
Please. There's a lot of questions, but please.
All right, okay. All right. I will reserve some of the questions at the end of the session. Okay. So I'll resume with some user-friendly tools, online and offline. Right. Here I have some some recommendations or suggestions, whereby on offline we always have our Microsoft PowerPoint. Okay, PowerPoint is actually a very powerful tool if you know how to use it. Okay, but be mindful that PowerPoint nowadays, it is not like the previous PowerPoint. It has more design templates now that can be used. But in the sense that PowerPoint can be challenging if you don't know which tools to be used for your design. So it can be like tricky as well lah untuk you produce some of your infographic materials. But you can. We always use PowerPoint, and for intermediate and advanced user or designer, you can always opt for Photoshop or even Illustrator for you to design your posters, your slides, or even your anything, okay, on your infographic materials. Okay, whereby this one on the online side, okay, we can I use Canva. Like for example, this slide that I'm presenting to you right now, I use Canva. Okay, Canva is a very powerful tool online, available online. Okay, where you can actually what we call this, have so many designs to be picked from the templates, but you can always adjust it to your own suitability and your own preference. Okay, I'll talk later about Canva. We have also Prezi. Prezi is like PowerPoint-like, but it has a very cool animation kind of presentation by using Prezi. We also have a picto chart. It is somehow quite similar to Canva as well as Designer. I rarely use these two, but I tried once. Okay, but I prefer most of the out of all these online available tools on market, I really suggest people to use Canva because Canva is a very user-friendly tool, right? Okay, examples of some infographic materials. These examples are from my own work, right? For example, like this. These are my brief assignments and to my students. Okay, we have in KAED, in Kulliyyah of Architecture and Environmental Design, we have studio. We teach studio design to students. So normally we will have a set of brief assignment in the beginning of the semester, which shows what kind of site they will go to, what are the workspaces that they will undergo. So these are how I did it back then. I think during last 2 semesters. Okay, so this kind of infographic materials is good to be explored by the lecturers or even by teachers because you will give something different to your students, not just a normal, a typical A4 document, whatnot. So somehow you can also have this kind of infographic to actually elicit their interest to know more about their sites and whatnot. Okay. This is another example in which this is my hand-drawn infographic lecture by using digital device. If you have tablet, if you have iPad and whatnot, you can explore some of the apps that you can use to actually create your own lecture. Okay, this is for even for students or even for anyone, not only for lecturers and teachers. You can always opt for kind of digital drawings or whatnot to actually deliver your information. So I use this one. This is the guest lecture, one of the guest lecture from Dr. Khalila's class. So she invited me. So I tried to experiment by using this kind of online lecture published on YouTube. So it is more like hand-drawn infography lecture. So it gives something different to me and as well as to students, the experience. All right, these are the examples from the like official work submission, for example, like grant proposal submission. You can always, this is for the grant submission. I make this one for the envelope cover. So sometimes I always believe that first impression gives you something. If you give something good to your assessor or whatnot, so they will have something different perception about you or your work. So always go for something that is very eye-catching and will be bold from others. Okay, this is from grant flowchart. Sometimes for lecturers, you have your FRGS and whatnot, and they wanted to have your attachment for your flowchart. You can always use Canva or even PowerPoint to do flowcharts, the infographic flowchart, rather than having a simple flowchart on Microsoft Word and whatnot. As well as for the project timeline, you can always have this kind of colors or even set of shapes that can be used to actually create your own timeline for your projects. Okay, you can always also have this kind of infographic packs in like this with a multi-tones color on your presentation. This is my infographic report for my industrial attachment. I opted to make it in infographic rather than having it on the what we call it normal kind of document on Microsoft Word. Or even this is call for meeting for anything. You can call for meeting for your members by having a call for meeting poster like this, a small one, like a very squarish shape, Instagrammable shape lah ni. Okay, for your members. Another one is like for lecturers or for competitions, we can have students assessment sheet. Okay, this one is assessment sheet for my studio class. I have this one to actually it is just for me, but I love it to be visually appealing, so that I have something good to see and give me good moods to give marks to my students. Okay, this is judging rubric from the competition that I had in COF faculty program during our CSR. So this is how we actually can turn a simple rubric into something that is more interesting and whatnot. So basically, I would say that this kind of examples would be can be varies from one person to another. So it depends on you how you can actually design it and whatnot. Okay. So I think that's all from me today. I welcome another questions if you have over there.
Dr. Hanis, there's a lot of questions, you know, but we only have 1 minute, you know.
All right. Okay. 1 minute left. Okay. I take two questions, and the rest we can email. Maybe
I think if they want to stay for another few minutes, they can. I can entertain.
Yeah.
You know, if you could entertain a few more, okay?
Yeah,
so,
I can. Sure.
If they can, of course, can. Hanif Saufil says, Dr. Hanis, could you share the online sources of graphic image that you always use?
Graphic image. Okay. The graphic image that I always use. Basically, I always use mine. Okay. Like I always use my sketches, or even I always use my own photographs rather than online. But if let's say online, it is from various sources. I always just type on the Google image. Okay, for example, you want to find a vector on something, like for example, you want to find something on, for example, building. You have a vector of building, then you type building vector on the Google image, then you can find so many things will be out from your search. Okay, I don't have specific website. I don't really have that. I mean, I always go for Google image search.
Okay, Amy.
If you can.
Okay.
Sure.
Yes, please. What is it, Dr. Hanis? You wanna?
For example, like this one. Okay, let me see. Sure. I always put like this one source Google image. If like this is from Google image. This is from Google image. So it is always from Google image search. Okay, that's my point.
Okay, Amy is asking you, is it okay to include GIF file in the presentation?
Yes, it would be good if you have a GIF file. GIF file is the animated one. Okay, you can have that, but not too much. Because if you have that kind of GIF animation, please do not make your presentation animated. Okay, like for example, what I mean is sometimes when people use PowerPoint, they like to have the transition from one page to another with animation and whatnot. So if let's say your content have sort of like videos or GIF animation, try to avoid having animated transition for the whole presentation. Okay, make your slides just a normal slide without any animation, but you can put some GIF content inside your inside your presentation.
Right. So Nurul Iman, I think, was asking the same question as Hanif. Swazlan, Dr. Swazlan is asking, do you have any templates? So they're looking for templates actually. For example, infographics of my research interests, maybe. What's your comment?
Okay. All right, sure. If let's say if I can share with you, Canva, the one that I wanted to share is about Canva, but because we have very limited time, kan? Okay, for example, like this, I use Canva for this slide. If you use Canva, you can have so many templates over here. You can have like technology presentation, you can have like startup and whatnot. So you can pick any. Okay, for example, for mine, I actually pick one of this, but I don't really use, okay, for example, if like say like this, you can have like one template and it has like 16 pages of different templates that can be used. Okay, but somehow for myself, I always take one template to be my basic, okay, as my basic, and the rest I will actually design it to my own preference. But it is not wrong for you to use the template that is already available. It is available for you to be used freely. But Canva has also premium kind of download. So perhaps for the download for the premium one, you need to buy. Okay, you need to buy the Canva Pro.
So
Right?
that's related to the question by Rozielawati Ahmad. What is the best premium package economical for Canva that you would recommend?
The premium one, okay. For at the moment, I yet to buy the premium one, okay. But because if you want to buy the premium one, you will actually pay like 150 USD for a year, I think. So I think that is worth to be spent. At the moment, if you want to use Canva for free, okay, for free you can use things for free and whatnot. But for the premium one, you can use, but it will have watermark over there. So if you ask me about the premium one, I'm sorry because right now I'm still using the free one.
Okay. Nick Ridwan is asking you, Doctor, about Canva. Do you save your work in JPEG or something else? I used to save my work in JPEG, but then whenever I present it, the arrangement is not suitable in PowerPoint. Your comment?
Okay, that JPEG. Okay, I usually download my presentation in PDF. Okay, if you can see here, it has a set of formats that can be saved: PNG, JPEG, standard, print. So I always go for PDF print. Means when you go for PDF print, it is the highest quality that can be printed out. So when you want to see something that is similar on your computer and as well as when you have it physically. So I always go for this one, PDF print. And even usually if I go for presentation, I will use PDF format because I prefer it to be like that. PDF is always flattened. Nothing will be go haywire here and there. So that is the safest way. That's my way of doing it.
Okay, and if you can see in the chat room, chat box, there's a lot of people applauding you. Good job, great work, sharing, Dr. Hanis, wow.
Thank you very much.
We got the maximum 250.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So I think if you could entertain more questions, is it okay?
Yeah, sure.
One Nur Shira, one Muhammad Ghazali. If let's say we are using PowerPoint, can we merge graphic from the online platforms?
Yes, of course. For online platform from you mean the Canva? Not sure.
Not sure. If Shira is here, she can explain that.
All right. Okay.
Maybe
let's say from Canva to okay. What I have discovered is if you want to copy something from Canva to PowerPoint, you cannot, because Canva is an online tool. Whenever you actually copy and paste something, it will the one you pasted it on PowerPoint, it will become a link rather than the image itself. So basically, I would say no.
Oh, okay. Hope that answers her question. So, is there any other questions? Live questions? You can open your mic if you want to ask any questions to Dr. Hanis.
Yes, please.
I think I've read the questions here. They are more comfortable writing the questions. Okay. So wow. So everyone is thanking you, Dr. Hanis. There's a lot of people there. Wow. Okay.
I must thank everyone too for joining. I hope this will benefit.
So
most
there's
of us do.
yes, yes. So there's one more question. Last question. Oh no, I have a question for you. This is the second last question. Can the
Okay, sure.
template be changed in one presentation?
Yes, can. You can actually I foresee this one is from Canva. Okay, if you want to have, let's say you have choose one template, okay, then you want to go to the next page, you want to search for another template and you want to mix and match, you can.
Okay.
Yes.
My final question. I have a question for you. What is your advice for infographic resumes? Okay, maybe
Okay.
how should we organize the document so it looks attractive to companies that we send to search for job opportunities? What's your comment on this?
This is also another big topic that everyone is looking into. Okay, basically what would I say is, when you want to have a very creative resume, you need to be different from someone else. Okay, sometimes it's good to have like all the details in to show your capabilities and whatnot, but some of the employers actually uh, don't really bother to see all your achievement and whatnot. What they want to see is the difference in you. So sometimes what you can actually sell on your resume is always what are the difference of you and others. What can you sell? What can you do? I mean, like instead of saying what have you achieved, tell people what can you offer to them, because you are searching for jobs. Okay, so that is my tips.
Okay, so I think this session, you know, your knowledge on this is endless. So I think, but we have to put a stop in this session. Maybe, as you said, we could have another session, a second session.
Inshallah,
With you, maybe
inshallah.
specific, infographic, resume, whatever it is lah. All right.
Can, inshallah. Even it can be on hands-on and whatnot.
Oh, hands-on as well. Wow, this is good. Wow. Okay.
Okay.
I think thank you very much. On behalf of Office of Industrial Link, dan terima kasih banyak for sharing your time and thoughts in this session with us today. Jazakallah khairan katsira, and may Allah Subhanahu wa Taala reward you with goodness. So before we end,
thank you very much.
Do you have any last words for your viewers today?
Yeah, sure.
Viewers and
viewers. All right. Basically, thank you very much for everyone who actually attended this session. I really enjoyed sharing my passion and knowledge with you. Hope that will be beneficial to everyone to actually embark to a new stage to produce a good infographic material after this. So if anything, you can always pop an email to me if you have any question or whatnot. So inshallah, it will be my honor and pleasure to answer your question. And thank you to Dr. Azami, Dr. Baiduri, and all team for having me here today.
Thank you to you, actually. So, Alhamdulillah. To all viewers, thank you very much for listening and viewing. Inshallah, we will update you on our next virtual session very soon. Do like our social media platform, Office of Industrial Link, IIUM, in Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to know more about our activities. So thank you again. Till we meet again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you, Dr. Anis.
Thank you, Dr. Kila. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye, your friends.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, Anis.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anis.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
How to get the slide?
Sempat. Thank you, Dr. Anis.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Hani should come again.